Okay, everyone, we have a lot to talk about for championship weekend, so let's get to it. I've been focusing a lot on conditions, the balls, soft balls, slippery grass, damp climate. Right now I want to focus on, instead of environmental conditions, outside conditions, the conditions of the players, both physically and mentally, because that had a lot to do with what we saw the last couple of days. We left off at Manic Monday with a Berdych-Tomic match that was still going on and turned out to be a great one. It didn't go that long, 4 sets, but they played some just great tennis early on. And then Tomic's level came down a little bit, but he still hung on, but finally kind of wore out. He's had a rough year off the court, more than anything everybody knows about, and maybe just kind of caught up to him, everything. But he played a really good match. He's going to really threaten to win a Wimbledon title one of these days. I'm sure of it. But Berdych, it took a lot out of him. You could kind of see that, and the feeling was he's in trouble against Djokovic. He actually played a great first set against Djokovic. It came down to a tie break, just one mini break. Djokovic got it, and that was huge. Had it went Berdych's way, who knows? Probably Djokovic still comes back and wins. But amazingly, the second set, Berdych jumped up quick, was up 2 breaks, 3-zip. And Djokovic actually got the 2 breaks back, and that was the end of that. So he got another break, won that set, got the early break. Berdych kind of imploded after that, very frustrated. It was just, a lot that he went through a lot more against Tomic than I think a lot of people realized. That was I thought that was a great match, actually, in a lot of ways, and that was a little too much. He doesn't have the strength, the mental stamina. It's sort of like physical stamina, but I think it's more, the strength mentally to just keep pushing through every match, tough match after another. So maybe an easier draw would have helped him not to have to face Tomic, but it wasn't to be, and Djokovic got through that, really good for him. He got through in 3 sets, especially with what happened today. On the other side of all that, we had Janowicz and Kubat in a quarterfinal, and that was relatively close. Janowicz got a break each set. It was very clean, and he's a little bit better than Kubat. On grass. I know overall he's definitely better than Kubat, but on grass, Kubat's good. But Janowicz is a little bit better. He used his power, got the break he needed, clean. I love those. One break, you're through. Great stuff by Janowicz. Del Potro Ferrer, crazy match. Del Potro, again, a guy who had some time off, so he has some extra energy coming in, but he has a bad knee. He keeps hurting it. He re-hurt it in the first game. He looked like he might retire. He said as much. He went on to just ramp up the power and take out Ferrer in 3 tough sets, or 2 of them were tough sets. Ferrer is not 100%. He admitted about an ankle issue. He's had problems all year. The guy's not going to admit stuff like this. He's too tough. He's not going to say anything. He's not going to make excuses, but it's not 100% Ferrer. But even if it was 100% Ferrer, it would have been a heck of a tough match. Potro was on fire, even with the knee. He had a lot of painkillers to help him out with the knee, is what he said. And then finally, Murray Verdasco, unbelievable. Verdasco jumps up 2 sets to love. Another guy, a lot of what we've seen at Wimbledon this year, and this is the conditions I'm talking about of the players, it's halfway through the year, and a lot of people are tired and or hurt right now, and they're fighting through it or retiring or pulling out. There have been a lot of injuries and tired players before this, early in the year, in the last year, that are now coming back, or that are a little fresher, or a lot fresher, than the wounded list that we have at Wimbledon right now. And these players are benefiting from the other ones being not 100%. It's amazing. So players that maybe don't have their full confidence, or haven't been around, and where have they been, or they've been losing in first rounds, or been retiring, or been out, did a lot of damage this Wimbledon. Now, some of it was the conditions of the grass and some the players that could play the grass, but some of it is just simply players that had the fresher legs, the fresher body, the fresher mind that came into Wimbledon. So, in saying all of that, Verdasco was one of them. He hasn't been at his top form in a while, so he gets knocked out of tournaments fast, and he definitely had fresher legs. Of course, Murray skipped the French Open. He had a light clay court season, so he's good to go too. But he definitely got caught off guard by Verdasco. Murray hasn't had that tough of a draw. He could have, but a lot of the top players in his side, got beat. So Murray, I don't think was ready for the power that, Verdasco has really been plowing serves, plowing forehands, and he came in, grabbed 2 sets on Murray. I think he broke Murray at the end of the first set, kind of threw Murray off, got him up flustered, and then Murray went on to lose the second set after going up a break. There's still a lot of pressure on Murray. I mean, the crowd's crazy for him. I think a lot of times he's tight early in matches, but then he starts riding the wave or the energy of the crowd, and he actually does better later when he starts to adjust. It's weird. It's like he's struggling because he wants it so bad, and when he starts out, and then he kind of loosens up and goes, and then the crowd sees him through. Like, we're not going to let you lose, Andy. And so anyway, part of it too is Verdasco has not been at his best, and though he's had a great Wimbledon, Murray got to his good level. The crowd pushed him into that too, and he fought his way through, and then he took care of the business. And on the big points, he took care of that as well, and especially in the 5th set. So that playing that he had before the clay court season and all the great Australian Open and U.S. Open last year, I mean, that saw him through all that. And Verdasco, but if Verdasco keeps at this pace, he's going to maybe get back to the top 20 like he was before. We'll see. It's all about the physical body with him too, injuries and all of that. He needs to stay healthy. On the other quarters for the women, we had Lisicki, Kanepi. That went pretty quick. Kanepi, another one who's missed a lot of time. Lisicki's missed a lot of time. They were both fresh. They both like grass. Lisicki's had some better tournaments this year. She got to the final of both Pattaya City, I think, in Thailand, and also Memphis indoors. Then she went out with a sickness a little bit again and came back and played pretty well Birmingham on the grass warm-up. Lost to the girl from Pittsburgh, Allison Risk, but it was a really close event. Risk is playing good tennis. It was a really close match, and I think Lisicki was, definitely in the better form. And she just beat Serena, and she didn't have much time to think about it. She had to play the next day. That was good. And she went out and beat Kanepi. I think Kanepi had done really well. She's been out a lot. She really was out. Didn't play much at all. So it's amazing what she actually did. Radwanska and Ali was a great match. Radwanska is not 100%. I thought she would be. She's had, she started her year off with so much tennis. She won the 2 tournaments before Australian Open and then went deep in the Australian Open before finally just pooping out and really having physical issues the rest of the year. But because she's missed some time with the physical issues or got knocked out of tournaments early, it's kind of given her a little rest. Her French Open draw wasn't so tough. And I thought she got knocked out right away in Eastbourne, but I almost thought that was good for her because it gave her more rest. And I just thought she'd be well rested and good to go here. But she's had some tough matches that maybe shouldn't have been so tough. I don't know. And then the next thing you know, she has these things on her legs, and she's having leg issues. And you can see, she's not nearly as offensive and aggressive. People say, "Oh, she just plays defense." They like to say that about her. That is not true. She has a lot of variety. No, she does not have power. So it's not actually her power is better than it used to be. She hits a little bit better on the forehand, and her serve got better. So, but no, she doesn't have the power of Lisicki, Serena, not even close. But she has a lot of variety, and it's offensive variety. She will work her way to the net, slice and dice, move it around, a la Federer a little bit. She plays more defense than Federer likes to, but she mixes it, defense and variety. Now against Ali, she tends to play too much defense at times, but I don't think she would have done that here at Wimbledon, but she did, and I think it's due to these legs. I do not think she has her full legs. She has said as much, and I know she's making some great defense from side to side. And people are seeing this saying, she's 100%. But it's not that simple. And when you're doing offensive movement, the timing is crucial. You're seeing it with Federer. A little bit sluggish in the legs, and everything's going off. Radwanska needs those legs 100% to do the things she has to do. She can play defense, that's fine. She pulled it out against Nali, very close. There were a lot of rain delays that I think actually hurt Nali. And by the end, she kind of fatigued a bit, mentally probably more than anything, and Radwanska came through. But that was a tough match. Then she played Lisicki in a semi, and we'll get to that in a second. But again, she wasn't offensive enough there either, and I think it was due to the legs again. Bartoli, Sloane Stephens. Bartoli is not, in my mind, even 100% in any way right now. She's playing well, but she's had somewhat of an easy draw, actually a really easy draw. And she physically, she's getting there. She's getting better, but she's missed a lot of time with physical problems. But Sloane Stephens, mentally, she could have had a much easier run quarterfinals, and she, struggled a lot when she shouldn't have, just because she keeps having these up and downs. She's very inconsistent, and that's in the head. And she's working on it. She's going to get it. And if she gets it, watch out. Her talent is off the charts. Her movement on all the courts. She can take it early. She can take it late. She can spin it. She can hit it heavy. She can hit it flat. She can move around the court. She can do angles. I don't think she's even, maybe not even half the talent she's realized yet. I'm not sure. I mean, her athletic ability is incredible. So, I'm looking forward to seeing how far she goes. But for now, it's a real up and down thing for her. And with all that up and down tennis she played, the mental strain more than anything, maybe a little bit physically, she was hanging there against Bartoli. It was a tight, good first set, then a huge rain delay, and she came out flat as a board. And it's Bartoli who has the leg issues. You could see Bartoli's legs were getting tight at some points. She was stretching them out, but she got herself ready to go, came fired out after the rain delay, about an hour and a half, 2 hour, 2 hour rain delay, fired it out, broke Sloane right away for the set, got up in the second set, but Sloane kept fighting back. To her credit, she wouldn't give in. She kept fighting back. This is going to help her in the future. But she didn't have it. Her serve was terrible in the second set. It was fine in the first set, but just wasn't there. I mean, and I think it was just a fatigue. I think mental fatigue more than just a letdown. And then at the end, she finally she broke and then held, tied up the match, I think at 5-all. Looked like, okay, now we'll maybe get to a tie break, and then couldn't break. Bartoli held, or was it, no, Sloane got broken again or whatever. Bartoli won the last 2 games, 7-5. Sloane did all this work to get herself back and then just went right down again. And it's just, again, she just get a little rest, keep improving. She just has to keep improving. She's got all the talent in the world. But anyway, so Bartoli had the experience. It helped her a lot in that match. Flipkins and Kvitova, unbelievable. Kvitova is again has some sort of an illness, a virus, sickness. She's had that all year, up and down with her physical. I don't know the deal. She has breathing issues. She has this issue. She has a lot of issues. She's also the Babe Ruth of tennis. I mean, she either hits a home run or strikes out. So with Flipkins, she struck out. I mean, she won the first set, but it wasn't easy. And then slowly, her physical, you could see it coming down. Plus, give Flipkins a lot of credit. It was an indoor. They had closed the roof for the rain on grass. Flipkins great at that, and she played a great match. And with Kvitova's energy kept coming down. She tried to get it back up. She fought, but it wasn't good enough. But Flipkins played too well for Kvitova to come down. So that was the end of that. So it was a shocker, but with Kvitova, nothing's a shocker these days. So into the semifinals, let's just keep with the women for now. Bartoli, Flipkins. Flipkins with the knee, she hurt it a little bit in the beginning of the match, but more than that, Bartoli has the experience, was ready for this, just like against Sloane. A lot of this was Sloane wasn't ready for that quarterfinal in a way. I don't think Flipkins was either. Flipkins probably had even a little more physical tiredness going on, but it was mental too, and just Bartoli came out and blitzed her, and that's that. But again, Bartoli could have had a lot harder opponents than this. I'm not putting down Flipkins or Sloane. I'm just saying where they are at this time and the way it all worked out. It's just worked out beautifully for Bartoli. But she's good at grass. She's been to a Wimbledon final before, so it's not a fluke or anything. Also, Lisicki and Radwanska, an incredible match, and went 9-7 in the third. Radwanska took it 6-2. When was Lisicki going to come down? She finally did in the second set. She barely won the first set. Came down in the second set, and we thought, down 3-0 in the third set, that's it, right? And all of a sudden, I don't know what. I mean, she got this burst of energy, just started getting all pumped up, and just came blitzing back on Radwanska. And Radwanska simply couldn't handle it. She hung in for a long time based on defense and guts and smarts and everything she could do, absorbing the power of Lisicki, everything. But you could see the inevitable was finally going to happen because there needed to be more offense from Radwanska. And she didn't have it. I mean, at times she did some variety when she was forced to do it, and she would do it well. And so again, I don't know, maybe mentally she needed to tell herself, look, I know my legs aren't moving the best, but I've got to mix it up. I've got to slice and dice. I've got to get into the net. I've got to do, but she didn't. And she's a smart player, so I don't want to doubt what she was doing. She said afterwards her legs. So I have to say those legs weren't 100%. Still, Lisicki's playing out of her mind right now. She has caught fire. I really think she will take Bartoli. if she continues to play this way. The question is, can she keep this up? I mean, is she going to have a letdown again, like the second set against Radwanska? And then Bartoli will take it. But if it goes like the Radwanska match, and what I think might happen is, maybe Lisicki does get the first set, lets down again in the second set, but comes back again in the third set, and then I think Bartoli could have a struggle keeping up physically after, and I think it could finally get to her physically, and Lisicki will have more in the tank physically and be able to see it through. There was a time I thought for sure Lisicki would, tighten against Serena, tighten against Radwanska, but right now it doesn't look like she's going to tighten up. And I don't think Bartoli will either. I think this is going to come down to physicality and Lisicki having a letdown or not, and whether she can come back off a letdown, or if she doesn't have a letdown at all, she might just win it in 2 sets. But, Bartoli's not easy. It's going to be a very interesting match. It could go either way. But I would be forced to pick, I'd pick Lisicki. On the men's side, Del Potro, an amazing match with Djokovic. He kept coming back, a set down. He got it to 5 sets. He almost went up a break in the 5th set. Extreme power, even with that knee issue, moving well anyway, probably more painkillers, I guess. Djokovic played well too. It's just, Potro's an amazing talent. He hits the heck out of the ball and he can play defense, and he's really smart. He is a smart player for a power player. He is just, he has a lot of different, he does a little slice and dice as well. Saying he's not good on the grass is crazy. After the Olympics last year against Federer, if you saw him play against Federer in the Olympics, you can no longer say he can't play on the grass. And the Olympics were a little bit slippery too, as well. So even a little bit faster grass, he can play. It's amazing. It's amazing. This guy is really an amazing talent. But I think with that knee, I think that had to, besides the fact Djokovic's great, I mean, the knee had something to do with it as well. Just a little bit. I mean, that was that little bit. He needed to be a complete 100% to be able to beat Djokovic. And Djokovic has had a good draw, and he's, physically was really fit and ready to go. Now, we have Murray and Janowicz. Murray did not, it could have turned into a monster match as well, but it didn't. Janowicz kind of wilted at the end, I think mentally and physically. It just proved to be too much. But he did play great for a while. They closed the roof. Murray had a heart attack about that. It just shows you how uptight Murray is, how badly he wants this, the pressure from the crowd. But again, he was not playing so well in the beginning. The crowd, maybe too much tension, then used the crowd later to play great. So, I do think we're going to see, well, they closed the roof, by the way, and I was hoping Lendl got to him and told him, remember, Andy, you're good at the indoors as well. Andy was having a heart attack, like, Janowicz is so great indoors. Well, he is, but so are you, Andy. I mean, come on, And this is like the roof closes in Wimbledon. It's a huge venue, the center court. It still has a lot of, they've learned how to control the humidity better now, and it does play a little faster now with the roof closed. But it's not like super fast like a Paris indoor event that's a small, smaller venues where it's not like that. It's a little faster. So there was no reason for Andy to panic, and he's good indoors, and he ended up proving that and won the next set anyway. But it just shows you the pressure he's under, and that's what it's going to be all about with Djokovic and Murray. It's going to come down to, first of all, Murray's pressure. I can see him losing early again, the first set, but gets, maybe even 2, but boy, that's going to be hard to come back on 2. But, Djokovic has never gotten through a whole tournament this year at 100% level, in my opinion. He's pretty close here at Wimbledon. But like against Nadal and the French Open, that was not 100%. I don't even think it was 80%. A lot of time it looked like 50%. I mean, Djokovic was really struggling. I don't know if anybody else didn't seem to notice. I don't know, but his energy was up and down. It wasn't, even Nadal was looking a little tired. He's played a lot of tennis coming into that, and but he could rise up. He got his energy back up a lot better than Djokovic did. Now, Djokovic looked great at Wimbledon, but after this Del Potro match, will he start to sway up and down again with his energy level? And if he does, that will give Andy that little in. If Andy comes out all uptight and tight, and Djokovic just blitzes him and plays great and his level doesn't come down, then it's Djokovic. He may even do it in 3 sets or 4. But I doubt it. I think Andy may struggle in the beginning. I think Djokovic's level will come down a bit. It even came down, just slightly against Berdych. And Berdych even admitted that. Hey, his level came down. And then I think his level, will come back up, and so we could see like Andy loses the first set, wins the second set, loses the third set, comes back and wins the fourth set, and then we're in the 5th set, and where are we at now? Physically, I think Andy's got it a little better than Djokovic. I know Verdasco wasn't. I didn't think it was so tough physically, honestly, and Janowicz wasn't either. I think Del Potro was tougher physically for Djokovic, but we will see. And then if the crowd's really pumping Andy and Djokovic gets a little nervy, look, if you have me up against the wall, and I said this at the beginning of the tournament, Djokovic beats Murray. But I thought Murray might have to get through Nadal or somebody else, and it would have been tough, especially Nadal. Then it was over. Without Nadal, Murray had a chance. But now, after the way this has worked out, and with what Potro just did to Djokovic, Murray has a chance. And now, maybe it's my heart, because I'd love to see him win it, like everybody. But it's a toss-up. If I'm up against the wall, I'm still going to say Djokovic. But I think it's almost 50-50. Wow. And sometimes I think, I don't know, well, this could be magic. Like I said, tightness in the beginning, but later Murray seems to be riding the crowd, like riding the wave, like just, right into the finish line. He's done it against Verdasco, Janowicz, and I have a little bit of a feeling, but I think it's more that I'm hoping that he'll do it one more time. The crowd will ride him in, he'll win in the fourth or the fifth set, probably the fifth set, and pull it out against Djokovic in a classic Wimbledon. I have a weird feeling we're going to get that. But we'll see. So my mind says Djokovic, my heart says Murray. And that's a wrap. We have some other great stuff. The Bryans are going for a Grand Slam, not an all one calendar year, but they're going for their fourth straight slam. It's fantastic. Speaking of people getting tired and physical issues, Vinci and Arani played a lot of tennis, and great tennis. And in their doubles, they lost in the French Open doubles final, and now they're out of the Wimbledon doubles. So we've got the juniors. If you haven't seen this girl Townsend from America, the U.S., you've got to see her. She's an amazing talent. Incredible athletic ability, all kinds of variety, a lefty, but she can slice and dice, get to the net, hit with power, run fast. Big girl, but she can run. Boy, she's athletic. And she's a joy to watch. She beat Konju and came back from a set down. Konju's been amazing this year in the juniors. She's number 2. But the number 1 is the new Swiss Miss after Hingis, Bensick. I don't know if I'm saying that right. So it's going to be her and Townsend. What a great final that's going to be. Quincy, the Italian guy, is in the men's final. He beat the Brit Edmund, so that's upsetting for the British. In the wheelchairs, Kunieda has come back from injury and he's dominating again. We've lost our Verger. Verger is the greatest player of all time in probably any sport. 700 straight victories in wheelchairs, unbelievable on the women's side. And she retired last year, so that's up, and the women are trying to sort out who's going to be the next big one there. And then we have legends and having fun with that this weekend. We've got Davenport and Hingis teaming up in doubles. So there's a total rundown of the big championship weekend in Wimbledon. So I hope you enjoy, and let's see if we get a couple great finals, and we'll be back for a wrap when it's all over, possibly from Forest Hills Country Club and possibly on the grass courts where they used to play the U.S. Open.